My dear students, let us take a quick look at the poem A Tiger in the Zoo, written by Leslie Norris. The poem explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lives in a zoo. The poet compares his life with that of the tiger and says what his life could be if he had been a free animal. He has tried to explain in general about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own entertainment and amusement. The poet begins with a description of a tiger that is very beautiful and is walking in his little cage. He has beautiful stripes on his skin and has velvet-like soft paws. But the tiger is not happy and is quite angry about being confined in the cage. The poet says that if the tiger was not confined to the zoo, he would have been hiding himself behind the long grass near some water body in order to catch its prey, that is, the deer. Also, as is the nature of a tiger, it is ferocious. So, it would have terrorized the residents of the villages around the forest area. But the reality is totally opposite to this. The reality is very harsh. He is confined to a cage which is made up of strong building material and he is helpless there. He fails to show his power to the visitors and as a result never tries to terrorize them. The poet describes the tiger to be powerless and agonized. He says that during the night he is alone. He hears the voice of the patrolling vehicles of police and keeps looking at the stars as he has nothing else to do. He tries to divert his thoughts towards the sky and towards the sound of the movement of the police. The cage life has totally changed the tiger's personality. The poet has tried to convey the message to the readers that the animal which is famous for its fearlessness and freedom is confined in the cage, and so he is sad and gloomy. Human beings are responsible for the sadness of these animals who want to derive pleasure by viewing them in the zoo. Now I would like to discuss the poetic devices used by the poet in the poem. The rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B. If you read the first paragraph carefully and observe the last word in each line, you will notice that the second line has the last word as grass and the fourth line has the last word as pass. These two words are rhyming, and other than these, the other last words are not rhyming. So the rhyme scheme becomes A, B, C, B. Now, the figures of speech used by the poet in the poem are: first one, enjambment. When a line in the poem continues in the next line without any punctuation mark, it can be called as enjambment. For example, sliding through long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. The next figure of speech is personification. The tiger is given human quality by the poet. The poet refers to him as he. In the line, he stalks in his vivid stripes. Therefore, this line is an example of personification. The next figure of speech is metaphor. This figure of speech is comparison that is made without using the word like or as. For example, on pads of velvet quiet. Here, the paws of the tiger are compared with velvet. So, it's an example of metaphor. The next figure of speech is imagery. The poet creates an image, that is a picture, through expression. For example, he stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage. Here the poet describes the bright color on the skin of the tiger and how it is making movements. The next figure of speech is alliteration, which is repetition of consonant sounds initially in a line. For example, where plump deer pass. You will notice that the per sound has been repeated in the line. So it's an example of alliteration. The next figure of speech is oxymoron. This is the figure of speech in which apparently contradictory terms appear in the same line, or in other words, it can be said that adjectives opposite in meaning are used in the same line. For example, in his quiet rage. Here the words quiet and rage are opposite in meaning, and the meaning of the line is the tiger is trying to control its anger by remaining quiet. Therefore, this line is an example of oxymoron. The next figure of speech is assonance. This is the figure of speech in which the same vowel sound is repeated in a line. For example, and stares with his brilliant eyes. Here you will notice that the sound that is I, in the words with his brilliant is repeated. The next figure of speech is onomatopoeia. This is the figure of speech in which words evoke the actual sound of the thing they refer to or describe. For example, he should be snarling around houses. Here the word snarling means an aggressive sound that is made by baring of teeth by tigers. Therefore, the word snarling, which is present in this line, is an example of onomatopoeia. That's all. Thank you, students.